During today's 1-hour presentation, we're going to talk about a number of things. First of all, we're going to talk about what is employment branding, the attitudes and trends towards email marketing by today's college students and recent grads, with particular attention paid to what their attitudes are with respect to receiving employment advertising through emails, whether it is coming directly from an employer or through a vendor such as collegerecruiter.com. We're going to talk about the rules of engagement, the things that you need to do, how to stay clean off the spam lists, be in compliance, and make sure that your emails are well received, both from a standpoint that people welcome them and that they actually hit the inboxes, people open them, people respond to them. We're going to talk about whether you should build your own list or whether you should buy a list, whether you should use a list like the list that collegerecruiter.com has, or both. And I think the answer will probably surprise you. Developing the message is a reference to what does your ad say? What should your subject line, how should that be written? What is the creative or the body of the email? What should that look like? What components should be in there? And we're also going to talk about the execution and reporting. By execution, what I mean by that is when you actually send out the emails, or if we or another vendor do that on your behalf, what do you need to do to make sure that they're properly sent? And on the reporting side, how do you hold that sender accountable? What kind of metrics are available to you? What should you be seeing and when? Are you a high-paying employer that also has a very high-stress environment? Do you give your employees a lot of flexibility in the work that they do? Are you a friendly workplace for mothers? Each one of those are branding issues and allow you to build your brand around those. If you are a much better place to work for candidates who are looking for a green opportunity, then build on that strength. Target those candidates and differentiate yourself from those of your competitors who may not be as green. At the outset, what you just want to do is you want that email to be delivered to the people that you want to hire. You want them to be excited enough to open the email to read it and excited enough to click on it to go to your site. If you accomplish that, then the email campaign itself is successful. At that point, your website takes over. And then you need to excite people through your website and give them enough additional information to get them to apply. If they do that, your website has succeeded. Once the applications are in the hands of your recruiters, at that point, it's their job to get those people hired, along with, of course, the hiring managers. But don't look at the email campaign in isolation and say, oh, we didn't hire anybody from it, if your website is a disaster or if your recruiters aren't selling. Now, remember when I was referring a minute ago to Subbrands? You don't just have one employment brand. You have a bunch of them. And some of your employment brands are, how are you depicted on the Internet? What are people blogging about? Are people creating YouTube videos about your organization? That might frighten some people. It's like, whoa, there may be videos out there about us. If you work for an organization of any decent size, there's a very good chance that your employees, your customers, your vendors, your ex-employees, the people that applied to work for you and that you didn't hire and maybe didn't treat with the respect that they deserve, I'll bet you anything, there are videos out there about your organization. Hopefully, most are complimentary, but that is your brand. What's your employment brand on college campuses? If you hired 5 interns last year from a school, guarantee you they have talked with a lot of their friends about your organization. Hopefully it's good. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a mixture of the two. Whatever it is, that is your on-campus employment brand. We're going to get into the build versus buy discussion a little bit later, and the pricing is very different depending upon if you use your own list, in which case the cost of sending out 1,000 or 50,000 or whatever emails is essentially nothing. Building that list is where the money is what will cost you. But if you buy a list from a vendor like collegerecruiter.com or another job board or some other owner, then the pricing really varies. Some of the vendors will charge you a base rate per 1,000 emails. So for every 1,000 emails that they send out, you have to pay a certain dollar number. And then they also charge on top of that for what are called selects. Rules of engagement. What are the things that you really need to watch out for? First of all, your list. It needs to be opt-in. You need to have the express permission from the people that you're sending the emails to. It's not enough anymore for you to have a valid email address and to send an email to that person and to sit back and say, well, if they don't want to receive it from me, they can always unsubscribe. That is very 1990s. Use testimonials. Nothing is more powerful to today's college students than the advice of their peers, followed closely by the advice of their parents. But if you can include a quote or two or three from last year's interns, last year's grads that were hired, that's going to resonate with them much more powerfully than some marketing ad copy written by some 55-year-old. As far as reporting goes, and I'm going to show you a copy of a tracking report that we sent to one of our clients, you want to receive from your vendor or from your internal list manager the number of opens. How many times was that email opened or read? How many times was it clicked on? And hopefully, on your website, you'll be able to track in a fully automated fashion the number of those clicks that turned into resumes, or what people in marketing refer to as leads. And the reason that I really wanted to show this ad to you is that they are doing something that very few employers do. And it's amazing to me. But down near the bottom, it says email a friend. By asking people to email this to a friend, to forward this, you're going to get a much higher response. And if Joe receives this email and forwards it over to Sally, this ad will mean a lot more to Sally than if Sally received it directly from College Recruiter, because it's peer-to-peer. She's got that, there's the viral marketing component. Include that email a friend button or link or something like that in all of your ads. It doesn't need to take up much space, but by including it, you will get a much higher pass-along rate than if you don't, and that will greatly improve the response rate.